Hello, scientists. Welcome to lesson 27. So, with this new target comes a new mystery. All right, so our target up here says we are learning to explain why forming groups helps animals survive. So, when we go to our green goal, we see that on our scale it says I can explain why forming groups helps animals survive, right? Lines up nice and perfectly with our learning target. But as we know, before we can get to our 3 goal on our scale, we have to climb up the ladder. So first, we have to be able to explain what it means to survive. Maybe you can already do this. All right, so I'm going to give you just a moment right now to think, what does it mean when I say survive? What does that mean? So I'm giving you time to think. When I say survive, what does that mean? All right, so now you might have had something a little different than me, but that's okay. So I can explain that living is that to survive means to live, right? There we go. And maybe you also said something like, whoops, my bad. Sometimes it can be difficult to survive, right? Because you might think, oh, to live, that sounds a lot easier than what it means to survive, and it does. So now, right, survive means that you live, and I just came up with another idea: to live by staying safe from other animals. Okay? All right, now when we go to our number 2 scale, it says, I understand that forming groups helps animals survive. And that is going to be the focus of our mystery. Okay? So we probably already know this, right? We know what it means to survive. And right, it makes sense. The more people you have in the group, the more you can survive. So we're all probably right about here. Maybe you think you're ready to move on to number 3 already and explain why that makes sense. I'm sorry, that's a really bad stick figure. But anyway, let's use Mystery Dog to help us out here. So the kind of smaller question, right? We always get a smaller question from Doug to help us think about our target, is why do dogs wag their tails? So we're going to keep that in mind, as well as how groups help animals survive.
Hi, it's Doug. Do you have a pet at home? A cat? A dog? A hamster? A goldfish even? I've had a lot of pets in my life, but one of the more unusual pets I've ever had is this.
Aww.
This is my pet tortoise, a type of turtle that lives on land. His name is Mr. Tortoise. I know, it's not the most original name. My youngest daughter was 2 years old when she helped me name it. I think he's great. He's actually one of the easiest pets I've ever had. He barely makes a mess. He only eats once a day. He doesn't make any loud noises. But recently, a friend of mine came over, and he was joking with me. He said, Mr. Tortoise isn't really a pet. Of course he is, I said. I was surprised. What do you mean? My friend said, look, the tortoise just sits there. He doesn't get excited when you come home. He doesn't snuggle with you on the couch when you watch TV. My friend was just being playful with me, but he had a good point. Mr. Tortoise is not like a dog. If you've been around dogs much, then you probably know what I'm talking about. It's true, dogs get happy to see you. They're cuddly and they snuggle with you. Dogs are actually a lot like people. When they do something bad, they even know it. Check out this video.
Cookie! What is all this? What did you do? Come here.
Oh,
He's innocent.
Say sorry. How do you say sorry?
dogs show that they feel guilty. What is it about dogs that makes them so special in this way? It seems like even though dogs don't use words, they have ways of communicating with us. Where did this come from? Why are dogs special this way, but a pet like a tortoise or a fish doesn't do that? What do you think?
So that's an interesting question, right? Because I know some of you guys, I think, Darlin, you have a pet turtle. You also have some pet fish, and there's probably others of you too. But those pets are great and everything, and I'm not saying that they're not, right? But they don't really communicate with you, right? The way that dogs do, like we just saw. So right now I want you to think, why do you think it might be helpful for dogs to be able to communicate with each other? By doing things like wagging their tails or rolling on their backs. Okay, so you are going to pause this video and give yourself some time to think when I say go, okay? And when you think you have an answer, you can hit play. All right? 3, you're going to think about this question. 2, 1, go. All right, so I'm interested to, well, I would be interested to, I know it's hard when we do this, right, not live together. This is a pre-recorded lesson. But I'm wondering if you had something like what I was thinking. Why might it be helpful? Well, to say hi. Also, to warn of dangers. Sorry, my tool is a little funky. I might have to get a new one. Yeah, I'm wondering what else you thought. To say hi, to warn of dangers. Maybe to show they just want to play. Like, sometimes it might be scary for a very large dog to come up to a small dog. Right? Let's check it out.
You learned in a previous mystery that dogs originally came from wolves that live in packs. They were bred into dogs over many years, using selection by human beings. Wolves and dogs are still a lot alike to this day, especially in many of the expressions that they make. Like dogs, wolves also bow when they want to play. Scientists have studied wolves and discovered that they work together to catch prey and to help each other survive. Within each wolf pack or group, one wolf becomes the leader, the alpha, and that wolf is in charge of deciding where the pack goes and leading the hunt for prey. All the other wolves in the group are under the alpha, and they recognize him as the top wolf. But wolves are aggressive animals, and having to live together in a group peacefully does not come naturally to them. Scientists have observed that so much of wolves' communication is about letting each other know who's in charge. For example, when a wolf rolls onto its back to show its belly in front of the alpha wolf, it's telling the alpha, "I'm not a threat to you, you're in charge." When it's clear which wolf is in charge of the pack and what role the other wolves have, the pack is actually better at hunting and catching prey. So, communication between the wolves actually helps them to survive. Since dogs are related to wolves, scientists think that the reason dogs wag their tails probably comes from their wolf origins.
Makes sense.
It might originally have been a way of saying, "I promise I'm friendly." Dogs and wolves really do communicate with each other. They might not be expressing complicated things the way we human beings can with our spoken language. But just like human beings, wolves live in a group and have different roles. Wolves have an alpha who's in charge of their pack. But human beings form teams or companies, and there's leaders at work and in sports. Wolves and human beings are not the only living things that live in groups to help each other survive. Scientists even have a name for this kind of group living.
Okay, so even though we started with the focus on dogs and then, of course, goes back to wolves, they said there are other animals that live in groups or packs. So I want you to think really quickly if you know any of those other animals that might live in groups or packs. All right, let's check it out, what Doug has to say.
They call it social behavior.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry, I forgot what Doug asked. So living together and communicating is social behavior. As Doug said, humans, we live in packs, right? That's social behavior. We live and we work together and we communicate with each other. Dogs and wolves do the same.
What other kinds of animals do you know of which live in groups and have social behavior?
I was a little early with my question. Okay, so let's see some that Doug came up with because we have already thought about this. Wolves, lions, yes. Fish, okay, yes. Like you know what they call a pack of fish? A school of fish. Sheep, cows, elephants. Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Whales, crows. Yeah, I thought a lot about birds. Bees and ants. Oh, especially, do you know what they call when a group of ants lives together? What they call that? A colony, that's right. So again, let's just think really quickly again about this. How might living in a group be helpful for animals? And we live in groups, right? And we are animals, we're mammals, we're humans. So we can even think how it's helpful for us. Some of those reasons might be the same. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little more time to think and then I'll write some down. All right, this is where we will stop for today once we think about some of these. Okay, all right. So something that I thought helped surviving, everyone shares food, right, or other things they need, right? Being in a group can keep people safe, right? Like a lot of times if you're going to a new place, if you're walking somewhere, maybe your adults in your house will say, oh no, someone has to go with you, right? So like look out for each other. Okay. Yeah. So now tomorrow you are going to have the chance to do an activity where you get to be a scientist and you're like in the field, like scientists do, studying animals, just like the scientists who study those wolves that we just saw. And you will have, my bad guys, you will have your own field journal where you will get to keep track of notes of what you observe. All right? So tomorrow you get to be the scientist in the field. All right? And again, you're going to watch animals that live in groups because we are working towards this target here of explaining why forming groups helps animals to survive. All right? Okay, scientists, good work for now. If you're still waiting for Miss Hazel to close breakout rooms, you can do any reading, writing, math, or science activity Miss Hazel has on Google Classroom. Or you can, as always, you can explore on Brain Pop about animals and habitats. All right, Miss Hazel will bring you back out of breakout rooms soon.